Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I am Nick Smith, of course, and you all know my nephew Tevis. Now, this film he did not go and watch. He went and watched Planes 2. I went and watched the sequel to The Purge. That's actually, honest, that's why we're here to talk. Well, that's why I'm here to talk about The Purge. Now, the first Purge was a bad film. I'm just going to throw it out there. Of course, so it's by Platinum Dunes, so. But I honestly think it looks like from this one, the people listened to the fans, and the fans actually wrote some ideas, and it looks like they actually took some of the fans' advice. So this is a sequel to The Purge. This one focuses more on the Purge itself than on the actual people. Like in the first one, how it just focused on Ethan Hawke and his family, like a home invasion film. This one takes place in the city. Not just in one house, but it takes place in multiple places, in a city, of course. But this one is more what The Purge should have been in the first film than what the first one was about. But now there are some characters in this film that we don't really get to know. Like, we have this one guy who is a major bad A. This guy's kind of like, he's like that guy from the movie Devil, and for a certain reason. And he's also kind of like the Punisher. Except he doesn't go around killing people for justice. But anyways, we get 5 characters. We get the guy that I just mentioned, who we never actually get his name. That's one of the things that I didn't like, is we never get his name. We get this mother and daughter whose name is Eva and Callie or Kelly. And then we get this couple who they'd actually do explain that. We get this couple who are shown in the trailers. I forget his name. Shane and Liz. Now, when I first seen... Can you actually not play with it? Or making noise anyway. The trailers show them driving through before the Purge starts. And I honestly thought that it was just them, let's go out real quick and get some stuff before the Purge. Now that I understand, you want to get some things before the Purge, but then their car just happens to die or runs out of gas when the Purge starts. That kind of seemed a little bit lazy, but they do explain that when Shane and Liz are at the store talking and everything and trying to get all their stuff before the Purge, they run into the people that are wearing the white masks and the guy who has God written on his face. They run into them, and that was actually a jump scare that shouldn't have scared me, but it kind of did. But so they run into him, and then they just start driving, and then all of a sudden something bad happens. Well, turns out when they were in the store, they messed with their car. They cut one of their lines in the car so their car would shut down, but over a long period of time. So their story is they're basically trying to survive the night by trying to find a place to hide and get inside and stay away from the Purge. Now the other family, Eva and her daughter Callie, are just trying to stay in their apartment and stay away from the Purge completely. But when one of their doormans, who I honestly called this coming, when the Purge starts, he breaks in with a shotgun and he tries to... he basically kind of tries to rape the mother. I mean, they hint at it, but they don't show it, which is good. And then he gets taken down by these governmental people. And then we run into, and then we focus on the bad A character who sees them getting taken into this truck, and he's fighting with himself. He's like, just drive, but he's like, you know what, forget it, I'm going to protect these people. So he takes down the government people, and then he saves them too, but he also runs into Shane and Liz, who have been trying to run from the certain group of people the whole night. So they keep encountering people from the Purge and basically trying to make it to this friend's house, and we find out that this guy is wanting to go purge himself, but they don't reveal why until later in the end, or in the middle of the film. So when they finally arrive to the destination, I knew something bad was going to happen here. They go to, I say a lot.
Stop, please.
They go to Eva's friend, who I'm thinking, they're talking about how they don't purge, but how they could, and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna go bad. And what do you know it, Eva's best friend is flirting with her is apparently they're talking to each other through text messages, and her sister comes in and just starts shooting up the place. So then they have to run, and then they eventually are picked up by the people with the white mask and the motorbikes. They're picked up in the subway, and they're just never mind. No, they're picked up after they try to escape the friend's house, and so we find out that they weren't purging. I honestly thought, okay, maybe they're actually here to save them, because in the trailer there was one trailer where it said there are no heroes during the purge, and I thought maybe these guys are being the heroes. No, something that happened on earlier in the film. Callie's grandfather sold himself to martyrs. So, in exchange for his life, they would give money and put it into their accounts. So they would be fine for the rest of their lives. And so we find out later on that there is this... It's these new founding fathers. I think the first people who did the purge are gone, and then there's a new set. I honestly don't know, but they've said something about these new founding fathers. And he's getting the popcorn. So, basically, like... There's basically bidding going on. It reminds me of the third Hostel film, which I have not watched, but I've seen a trailer for. There's a bunch of people, they're all dressed in nice suits and everything, and they go and pick up people from the street, and they bid on the people that these people are all bidded on and then thrown into an arena to get purged by the people who bought them. And that kind of reminded me of the Hunger Games, which I admit that was a little bit impressive. There was some good twists in this film, and I personally didn't mind it. And so then the government comes in because they took out all the people who were purging. And the government has been involved with this film more than they were in the first one. But then, out of nowhere, they have been setting up this character. Now, this does have good character setup, and it does also have no character setup at all. And they set up this character from the beginning who Eva's daughter has been watching this guy on the internet who does not agree with the purge. And he's like, we're going to show you what it feels like to be purged. So when they're getting ready to die, all of a sudden this explosion happens, and then these people, and then the guy who Callie was watching, his people come in and take out the purge people. So then they find a car, and we find out that the guy with no name is wanting to avenge his son because his son got hit by a drunk driver. Now, what does this remind you fans of? I'll tell you what this reminded me of. This reminded me of Saw 3, with Jeff wanting to avenge his son's killers because he's been thinking about killing them for over a year, but this actually did have... This movie kind of felt like Saw. As I was watching, I was like, you know, this kind of reminds me a little bit of Saw and The Hunger Games a little bit, but that's probably because The Hunger Games is really popular right now. And so... the movie ends with the guy who got shot. He survives because when he saved Eva and her daughter, they shot this guy in the back of a truck who had a Gatling gun or a Gatling gun or something.
A Gatling gun.
Gatling gun. Yeah, he was shooting people in the back of his truck, and they stopped him from killing this person, from killing Eva and her daughter. And this guy's like. When the no-name guy walks out of the house of the person who killed his son, he gets shot in the side, and it's the truck guy, and the guy's like, there's an unwritten rule in the purge. There's not supposed to be any heroes. We're supposed to cleanse our souls, and we're supposed to murder people. We're not supposed to save people. So then the film ends with them going to the hospital, and then everything is okay. So now, I honestly figure that this film could go two ways. One, it could possibly go the route, which I'm hoping that they do, and then make it this big controversy where the final film will maybe be about them going to the government and taking the government down and stopping the purge. But this isn't Mockingjay, and I highly doubt that they're not going to do that. They could do that, but if they do, it's just because Hunger Games are really popular right now. Or they could go the Saw route and just make another movie each year about different people surviving the purge, which I don't mind that, but it's just going to be like the Final Destination films and the Saw films, you know, just beating a dead horse with another dead horse. So they could go either way.
I like the Final Destination films.
Well, but I'll talk about that later. But in conclusion, this film was a lot better than the first one. if you want to watch this film, if you're a fan of like long series and you just want to finish the series, then I suggest go watch it. It's not something that you're gonna like, you know, remember. It's like, oh hey, remember that great scene from the second Purge? It's not anything like that. It's not anything like Captain America or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It's just a film to watch to kill time. You know, kind of like these films sometimes. But
Sometimes.
But you know, guys, comment in the comments below. Tell me what you thought about this film. Have you watched the first one? What did you think of the first one? Have you watched this one? Tell me what you thought about this one. I really want to know. What way do you think the Purge is going to go? What ideas do you have? I really want to know. Comment below and let me know.
Subscribe.